is Universal Heritage Television Naija, your premier online television in Imo. Today, we are bringing you our Daybreak Naija program, and we are going to discuss the efforts of the secret police, the DSS, to arrest the CBN governor, Emefiele, as well as the resignation of Dr. Doyin Okupe, the Labour Party Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council. I have two people to discuss this matter, a journalist and a lawyer. Barrister Mike Oti is an Imo-based legal practitioner. Barrister Mike, you are welcome.
Thank you for having me once more on this show.
Ojukwu Lambert is the editor-in-chief of Nigerian Newspoint, one of the high-riding regional tabloids. Oje, you are welcome.
It's my pleasure.
My name is Afam Echi, your anchor. Please remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The issues. 2 days ago, the Federal High Court at Abuja, presided over by Justice Soho, declined an application by the DSS to incarcerate the CBN governor, Dr. Godwin Emefiele. The court ruled that there were not sufficient strong evidence to withhold his freedom, and so declined the application. In a related development, Dr. Doyin Okupe, the campaign director general of the Presidential Campaign Council of the Labour Party, was convicted on a 26-count charge and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment or exercise an option of fine. He elected to pay the fine and got his freedom. Now, on the issue of the attempt by the DSS to arrest and detain the CBN governor, I ask you, OJ, some Nigerians were taken by surprise at this development. Some felt somehow embarrassed, given that the level of position Emefiele occupies, that will amount to an embarrassment to the country. He holds a critical position as somebody who holds the he is the custodian of the nation's treasury, and then being charged for funding or financing terrorism. How does that come to you?
Well, this is Nigeria, with due respect to patriotism. I am a very patriotic Nigeria, but because of putrid leadership, one is given to saying things that are not supposed to be palatable sometimes, or patriotic, so to speak. In the context of saying this is where Nigeria runs, the governor of a ruling party. The governor is a member of the ruling party, or is appointed by the ruling party, APC. Suffice it to say that if there is the allegation that he is sponsoring terrorism is true, that means APC government is also indicted. It's an indirect way of saying that they are indicting, that the APC is indicting itself. And that is my thinking. Secondly, you also find that for me, the DSS was playing to the gallery. What is DSS? Emefiele, as a governor of Central Bank, has no constitutional provision of immunity. So if they were to pick him up, just like you can pick up any criminal, common criminal, why do you go to court, go to make application, go to what do they need to, make it public? Why didn't they pick him up? There are many deputy governors.
Let me ask you, if you say he's playing, the DSS
he's playing to the gallery. They were playing to the, yes.
What informed your judgment, your opinion of that?
What informed my opinion? Because as a secret agent of government, constitutionally, you can arrest anybody, beyond the president, beyond the governor. These are people who have constitutional immunity. What is the governor of a central bank has no such immunity. Why do you come to dramatize going to court? Why do you need to go to court to get authority to go? Is there any law, stopping a DSS from carrying out this for a constitutional? There's no. You see, this thing is now, for me, it's drama, it's razzmatazz. They should have gone straight, get him arrested and deal with him. So going to court, for me, is an escapist approach. An approach where the man himself has done what he's supposed to do. So it's like a lot of water went under the bridge. Because I know DSS can go and pick anybody, no matter who you are. So why do you go to court to be into dramatize get authority to prosecute? For what purpose? Constitutionally, there's no law.
Okay. Barrister, he said DSS has the option of going to pick the CBN governor. Now, why do you think they choose to go to the court? Is it to maybe use the court as a decoy or something? What do you think is
That's exactly, you just answered the question.
I believe that even assuming they actually wanted to conform to even procedure, the procedure that adopted to me is irregular, because CBN governor is an appointee of the presidency, and he is directly answerable to the president. And don't also forget that Central Bank of Nigeria is a purely independent institution. But like he said, the governor of Central Bank is not clothed with immunity. Therefore, he could be arrested by security agents when there is very strong indication that he may have committed a crime. In fact, the law says upon suspicion, you do not even need to completely establish it. Once there is suspicion, strong suspicion, that he has a link to any crime committed anywhere, he could be arrested by the law enforcement agent. And the State Security Services is a secret police. Do you understand? So by their oppression, they could have just arrested him, quizzed him to, find out whether what they are investigating is correct or not.
Is suspicion enough based on what you said? Because the judge ruled that there were no evidence, and now you are saying upon suspicion they can pick him. Is that enough?
No, you see, and when you talk of suspicion is not the way we understand suspicion. Before you suspect, you must have concrete materials before you. Assuming somebody has furnished DSX with that information and backed it up with some documents, probably mails that were exchanged by Emefiele and some persons, suggesting that he is directly or indirectly funding terrorism or financing terrorism. DSS, of course, relying on the information given to them, could arrest Emefiele. So when I say suspicion, it does not mean that you conjure something on your mind and call it suspicion. Suspicion, what warrants suspicion must be evidence in concrete terms. That's what we found suspicion. Do you understand? In law, yes. So suspicion is not just in your mind, you think somebody is a rogue, when actually there is nothing suggesting that he's a rogue. Again, let me also say that the question you asked regarding going to court instead of just arresting him, you see, DSS simply wanted to look like they are adhering to rule of law. Because if they had obtained a court order, it would seem on the face of it that they are law-abiding.
They are acting on the...
Yeah, they are acting on the order of court. Yes, but if you look at it again from the other angle, the application upon which they sought the order of that court is ex parte application. And ex parte application is the kind of application that you bring before a judge without the other party being there. Do you understand? Yeah. That is why, if you read the ruling of that court, Justice Soho said, and Justice Soho is seasoned, he's also the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. You see, when he saw that application, and when he saw that no material was placed he decided to assign it to himself because he has the power to assign matters to different courts. He assigned it to himself and dealt with that matter expeditiously. I think he deserves very special commendation for that because that application, I think, was filed on 7th. And it was disposed. No, 7th or 17th. It was disposed on 19th. 17th. It was filed on 17th and disposed on 19th. 2 days. So, assuming he assigned it to another judge, that judge may have granted it, may be persuaded to grant the application. Because, you see, granting that application is purely discretionary. It is within the discretionary power of the court.
He said so.
Yeah. So he could have, if he had granted it, upon the granting, nobody has the right to criticize him because he has exercised his discretion one way or the other. So, but we commend him for dealing with that application expeditiously and also ensuring that that application was struck out. And DSS was asked, he said, if you must bring that application again, put the respondent on notice.
On notice.
Yes.
Okay, I still dwell with you, Barrister. Now, drawing from what you said last, assuming the court had granted that application, what would have been the implication on the image of Nigeria, on the economy of Nigeria, and Nigeria in its entirety, looking at the critical position Emefiele holds? How would it have affected us?
Well, the truth is that I do not see, you see, if there is any link, assuming Emefiele has any link with terrorist organization, do you understand?
Yes.
It is the responsibility of law enforcement agents to quickly swing into investigation, pick him up, arrest him, and investigate. If they establish that he actually committed any crime or he is colluding with anybody to commit acts of criminality bordering on terrorism, then they will be right. But like you said, it is a smear on the economic image of Nigeria too. Because if that is established, both APC government, like he said, both APC government and even Nigeria economy will go down. Because Emefiele is the treasurer, the chief treasurer of the federal government. So if he is found to have any link with terrorist organization, for a government that purports to be fighting terrorism, of course, you don't need to be told that it will spell doom for the nation and also for the government that he is serving. So, if DSS actually has something, but I believe, deep down in me, I believe that they really don't have anything. I think they're being used by politicians.
That's the question I want to ask OJ. Next, some Nigerians hold the view that the action of the CBN governor in recent time, especially in the area of monetary policies, the currency redesign and the other related issues, is what is attracting the attack to him. Some believe that some politicians turn themselves into fit columnists and then want to spoil things. So, do you agree with that view that maybe there could be some underhand politicking going on?
Yes, the politicking is not subtle. It's not subtle at all. It's very pronounced. It's very pronounced. Anyone can say it. They have the National Assembly is inviting him to come. The politicians are now pouring, using DSS to say he's a criminal or he's sponsoring terrorism. So you find out that it is what I call political jingoism going on. Election is in the air in the next 64 days, exactly today, 64 days. Nigeria will be going to the polls, and some of these people are involved, directly and indirectly, and they're trying to find a system of trying to bog the system down. The man for saying that for changing the color of Naira and all that, we saw the effect it had on the money bags, who are masquerading as leaders of Nigerian politicians. So he decided to he decided to make sure that that doesn't. Maybe that is not the intention. Other countries have tried to change the face of their currencies, but Nigeria is everything in Nigeria is politicized. It's politicized, and that's what they're trying to do. So these politicians are very old in the system. Some of them ought to peter out now because the forces of political change is affecting them. So we're trying to jive, do one or two mago if you like, to see what they can do to truncate the system. They are even not only doing it with Emefiele, they are doing it with INEC. Can see the destruction. So all these to me are not subtle intimidation, but very huge, gargantuan intimidation to shake the system, to make people afraid. But people are wiser. So for me, there is nothing less to say that they think it's politically, the underlay of it is politics. But then, are they succeeding? I don't think they will succeed. Now, Emefiele has run away. In my quote, that's my son, with due respect to my own language. He's hiding some hibernating somewhere.
What do you mean by that?
He said he's sick abroad. He's not in Nigeria. What is it? Is it not flying? He's on flight.
Yeah,
he has left the shores of the land.
They travel with Buhari on the tour, and that raises another suspicion. If actually he was they were actually looking for him, why did they not stop him?
Why did he at the airport? That's what I'm saying. That's why I said they are playing to the gallery. There is all this, they are trying to, there are a lot of schism going on for whatever purpose. But then, you also find out that the man himself, I think, is up to the act. He's also told them that he's sick now. I think he has written 3 letters to the National Assembly. First, he told them he traveled. Secondly, he said, I'm on an economic mission with, for Nigeria. Now, last night, he said that he was sick. So, it's like that. So, let's see how it goes. Maybe he will stay the next 10 days. That will deplete the number of days to election. And then by the time he comes, they will change another style. Then who knows? By God's grace, we pray that Nigeria will have the safest and most credible election. That's what every Nigerian is saying. Irrespective of the jingoism, the political abracadabra, and the higgledy-piggledy that try to bring it to the thing. It may not work. Yes, it will not. That is our prayers. And prayer can do anything.
Barrister, are you not worried that a matter as critical as this could be going on without the presidency being in the picture? I mean, because the presidency recently or yesterday made out a statement to say they are not commenting because the matter is sub judice, and they are not aware and they were not consulted over the arrest. Do you not suspect that there must be a gap somewhere?
I think
that leaves everyone in doubt, because if you have a president that at every moment there is an issue involving members of his cabinet. He appears to be very insensitive, standing completely aloof to the issue or challenge. Because I won't be surprised if tomorrow he issues a statement, the president issues a statement, saying that he's not even aware that DSS invited Emefiele. I won't be surprised, because that has been the pattern of this present government, APC government of Muhammadu Buhari. So it's surprising. Ordinarily, if you want to follow procedure strictly, DSS is not supposed to have anything to do with Emefiele without first of all taking permission from his boss, which is the president. I don't know how DSS could have ignored the president. It is not possible. Could have ignored the president and go straight to arrest CBN governor. So it is very, very surprising. It's very, very surprising.
Okay, OJ.
Yes.
You remember Emefiele got into the murky waters of Nigerian politics when he expressed intention to vie for presidency, and is known to be a member of the ruling party. Now, even when there were reactions over his intentions, he even went to court to challenge those who were contesting his non-resignation. Now, people know that is against the CBN Act of 2007, Section 9 or so. Now, do you not think that having delved into politics, he is attracting all this to himself? Because it is not known that a banker, by the virtue of their activities, they are very, very conservative people. They are not known to be allowed to be, just like a judge. It's like getting the chief judge to participate in Nigerian politics. Are you not sensing that these are part of where his problem may be coming from?
I think it's very, well, you may be right, but all these are suggestive, very, very suggestive. They are opinionated. But all the same, one can say that what you're saying, coming out, leaving his professional duties to step into the murky waters of politics is a part of what is happening. In between the line, there must have been one or two, so to say, huge politicians in his party whom he must have offended, and he's still offending because somebody, the emergence of their candidate, the candidate of APC, is somehow controversial. There may have been some instruction elsewhere for which he came. He could have been playing some smooth screen, when people say he came out, he must have been doing some job for some people, either to say, I rise up to this level and I ask my people to support this person. Maybe the person who emerged later is not the person he expected to. He now sold all those vehicles we saw, those expensive cars. No, he bought over 3,000 pieces of vehicles and all that. So maybe he must have disposed them without giving it to the person who emerged support. So there could be anything, there could be, it could be that. But then, all the same, the attempt to even foray into politics was wrong. It was wrong. He shouldn't have done that. That shows you what the government in power, the various mistakes they are making. The man is not supposed to come into, because like the council said, such a he himself beyond the SS ought to have, before he ventured into politics, he must have taken, he must have obtained the instruction, from his boss, for him to step out, and they allowed him. He bought vehicles and he was talking, and people were raising money, paid 100 million. He was a civil servant, and he was not investigated. So all these things are there. It's a hocus pocus.
He was not investigated by Samai Kweti.
100 million.
How comfortable are you with that comment? He was not investigated. Because having gone against the CBN Act, one had expected sanctions from the authorities, the higher authorities. In fact, it is not even expected that, it is expected that they would have stopped him or something would have happened. Because that has implications for Nigerian economy.
For me, the moment he purchased that phone with 100 million naira, he should have tendered his resignation. Because coming into politics as a CBN governor, it doesn't sound good to the ears. Apart from, even if we leave out the legal aspect of it, the infringement on certain provisions of CBN Act of 2007. The moral aspect of it, talking morally now, it doesn't sound good that somebody who is presiding over the Central Bank of Nigeria is contesting for presidency. He's a public servant, for crying out loud. So he should have tendered his resignation the moment he purchased that expression of interest form. But Nigeria being what it takes, everything goes. Nobody is moved by, moral qualms.
Okay, let's go to the other issue, the issue of occupants.
And again, before you go, to add to what he said, you find out that Emefiele also was in charge of a CBN, which he was in charge of, was in custody of the sensitive materials for INEC. All these voting materials are under the custody of CBN as we talk, and he is supervising it. He ought not to have emerged and made an attempt to be a president of Nigeria. So that's why I was talking about investigation. So it's a putrid system of government leadership. Nigerian problem is a systemic problem.
So if I get you right, are you insisting that Emefiele should be investigated? Is that what you mean?
Why not? Why not? If you see even he's not being around now, for me it's escapist. It's an attempt. It's defeatist. It's an attempt to do, okay, going away. How can, of all the economic experts in Nigeria, what does the central bank governor, who has just changed the face of Nigeria, the value of Nigerian money, the face, the color, just about 1 week ago, what does he have to do with traveling with a good president? What is he going to have to do? The next thing we now hear is that he's sick. It's a jiggery pokery. It's not right. Nigeria is a funny place. It's like Ludo, Joker.
You keep bamboozling us.
No, but that's what it is. It's a shame. It's a shame, but unfortunately we are entangled with it. There's nothing we can do. This is our country. But we only pray that 2023 will change the scenario, and freedom, real democracy will come up, blossom, so that we all will thrive and live like citizens.
Okay, let's talk about the resignation of Okupe. Barrister Okupe was convicted of on a 26-count charge and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. But he exercised the option of fine and then secured his freedom, like I mentioned earlier. How would that come to you, given what we know of Nigerian public officials? Okupe has served the two past presidents, Obasanjo and Jonathan, if my memory is not failing me. And he's a medical doctor, a writer, a poet, and a public opinion, and so many other things rolled into one. Now, recently he assumed the position of a campaign director general for Labour Party, for P2P. And all of a sudden, a matter that has pended since 2018, was exhumed. And then he was judgment given. And he was fined. How would you look at his resignation? Because some people are thinking that he was not involved in any criminal act. It was only an infringement against the Money Laundering Act. But he chose to throw in the towel. What, in your view, how would you look at the situation?
For me, what he did is simply right. If you are talking of the aspect of resignation.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the moral character, the moral strength, in terms of character, Nigerians, even when they are indicted in one thing or the other, they still remain in office.
No, you see, let me tell you, I think what Okupe did the right thing. Yeah. He is heading a very fierce, fast-running campaign machine in Nigeria today, as we talk. Because I am aware that Labour Party has overwhelmed even the traditional existing political parties that has well over the years. So Okupe is heading such a campaign machinery. And just recently, a baggage is brought upon his neck. Do you understand? The right thing for him to do is to step aside, which he did. So it is a part of honor. I think he told a part of honor by resigning. Because, you see, once he goes out to campaign, what people will be, other parties who are looking for what to even say, we say, look at somebody that has been convicted of criminal, an ex-convict is, campaign, what are they coming to tell them? Do you understand? So they are, if you look at P2B, with the record he has left in Nigerian public service, every Tom, Dick, and Harry in Nigerian system, particularly of the established, or rather of the establishment, they are looking for loophole. They are looking for at least dent, yes, to bring him down, and they have not found. So this conviction will give them that opportunity. So Okupe, sensing it, acted honorably by stepping aside. So I think he did the right thing. Then on the issue of, Money Laundering Act, it's very easy to, infringe on money laundering. If you strictly follow politicians, if you strictly follow that law, virtually all of them in public service will be convicted. Virtually all of them. I read what Femi Fani-Kayode said. I laughed it off. Because Femi Fani-Kayode should have even been in prison before now, before Okube's conviction.
Exactly.
Assuming the trial, do you understand, was given the right momentum. He should have been in prison, he should have been convicted long ago. And some other persons, many of them. When you are talking of money laundering, the APC candidate, which crime is more self-evident than somebody bringing in 2 billion vans in his compound? Tell me which act of infringement on the money laundering act is higher than that one, is bigger than that one. Nigerians, in the full glare, yes, daylight, we are not talking of something that happened in the night. The camera captured every 2 billion vans stacked with Nigerian currency, moved into a private compound of an individual. Do you understand? And till today, the person still has the effrontery to walk the street and tell us he's contesting election.
We want to be a president, and we are clapping.
So I do not want to make certain speculations, because at this stage it's still in the realm of speculation. Do you understand? But I like what Doyen Okupe did. He has stepped aside. Now he has a right of appeal. Let him pursue that right. He has a constitutional right of appeal. After all, you recall that Olisameto was convicted by the Federal High Court. Olisameto went to Court of Appeal. It was still upheld. Then at the Supreme Court quashed that conviction. Do you understand? So let him pursue his right of appeal up to the Apex Court.
Yes.
So that is it.
OJ, see, were you surprised that this matter suddenly came up? People are also alleging political conspiracy. Because this matter has been there since 2018, and judgment was not given. Then all of a sudden it came up.
It's just like the case of Emefiele, digging deep to incriminate people. It's political jingoism going on still. You find out that somebody must be enmeshed, throwing banters, mudslinging, political mudslinging. 18 years. Oh, naturally, he's a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. But I know that even if you commit crime and run away, after 2 years, you are supposed to, when you come back, there is a way you kind of relax. They say you have suffered you have paid but this one now, 2 years, from 2018 to now, you see how many years it is, they're still digging up. I don't know if it is the act that guides what do you call it now, EFCC. But all the same, like the lawyer said, it's not right. It's witch hunting. And what Okupe has done, he must have done, but through the prompting. That's how my mind is working. Through the prompting of his the principal, the P2B. Like he said, every political dragnet have been spread to entangle him, and it has not. And he kept telling you verify. The man is so confident about his past. So, and nobody is doing that. So Okupe was not even advised. Okupe is a product of PDP. Product of what the PDP as a PDP. He was a PDP. Yeah. PDP could not teach him. He's not a lawyer. They should have told him, because if he has allowed 4.499, I think so. If he had taken it, over the counter, like people say, he wouldn't have committed crime. But the law says up to 5 million. You cannot. You must pass through the bank. I think that was the challenge he has. So, and I think it was about 50-something counts charges. Then the judge said, you didn't commit any crime.
Describe it as an honest mistake.
An honest mistake. But you should have known, because what they say, the lack of knowledge of law is not an excuse.
Ignorance of the law.
So ignorance. So PDP should have even taken a part. To me, should take part of the blame. Okupe was a big man with them a few years ago. They didn't teach him how to be law abiding. And many of them, like he said, went on committing the crime, including, what's his name? The Anambra man who later became sick, the man he mentioned. And they were all people of PDP and PDP. So PDP, APC, all of them are one. They don't teach their people very well. If Okupe was, told that this is a crime, he wouldn't have done it. But let me tell you, the germane, the political potency of what he has done is unique. It's like comparing it to what Jonathan did. When Jonathan said, the blood of any Nigerian is not what the position. Ambition. So what Okupe has done must have come from P2B. And he has done, nobody, like you said, most Nigerians were in Africa. He will sit down after all, he is not the political presidential candidate, neither is he the deputy. He could have said he had talks replying there with social media and all that. But he said no. If you read the letter he wrote to Tobi, the beginning of the letter, the first of it said, I have invested so much into your campaign that I cannot be held responsible to be a man who will, crash it, so spoil it. So he said, let me step aside. But I think he's stepping aside. He is still the engine room, only that he is now on the ground. So whoever they bring do not have the same knowledge he has. He will still be doing the backing up. So for me, but what is important, based on what you say, is exemplary leadership. It tells you where Nigeria is going. It also tells you where these new political parties will take Nigeria. I don't want to be specific, so that I don't become biased. So where are they taking us? A new Nigeria is possible, where somebody can say, they say, okay, you stole meat, one piece of meat, and he resigns because it's against the law. So that's what it means, and that is what Nigerians are doing.
Leading by example.
Leading by example. So for me, it stops everything. And then, whatever other political parties intend to get from it by mudslinging and campaigning against it, they have lost. Because there's nothing you can say. This is the man who has set example. He has said, no, let me resign. Let another person come. It's not common in Africa. It's not common in Nigeria.
When you were making a comment, you said you made a comparison, kind of, with what Okupe did, and you commended him that he did the right thing. How do you relate it? How do you reconcile it with what paid the fine, just like Okupe paid fine, and they are all on the same pedestal right now.
Yes.
Now, so why has he not resigned? Why is he not resigning? Why did he not, throw when he knew as an ex-convict?
When it was exposed.
Yeah, does our law allow ex-convicts to come and hold position?
The truth is that the conviction or whatever that happened in the United States, you understand, cannot operate as a judgment against him in Nigeria.
All right.
Except you follow the procedure of probably registration of foreign judgments. Then when you register it here, you do the necessary things in order to regularize it, to take effect against him. But I think, having said that, it is funny to think that somebody who has told you that presidency, his shot at the presidency is a lifelong ambition. Expecting him to resign, if you are expecting him to resign, I think you will expect forever. Because the man, apart from even the issue of drug-related scandal from the United States, he has other baggages around him.
The bullion van.
Yes, the bullion van issue.
Yeah, why do you think the presidency did nothing about it?
No, don't forget that the day the bullion van entered, it was the current presidential election that was about to be prosecuted. Oh. So you don't expect that money was moved to prosecute the presidential ambition of our sitting president today. Do you understand? So I do not expect him to take any contrary action, because he knows that it was in order to deliver him.
He benefited from
that. He benefited from that wrongdoing.
In the past.
So he cannot, come out clean to say, prosecute this man. And though deep down in him, the Buhari deep down in him, does not acquiesce to that kind of lifestyle. And that is why, that may have informed his reason for not supporting Bola Tinubu's ambition.
Are you sure he's not supporting?
He did not. No, from day one, it was very glaring.
It was very
even after Bola Ahmed Tinubu emerged, he in a press conference I heard with my ears. I did not hear from some other people. It's not hearsay to me. I heard with my ears when he said that he was telling Nigerians or APs, no, he was telling party faithfuls that he was not responsible for the emergence of Bola Tinubu.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I know he was canvassing for
his deputy. His vice or
consensus.
Yes, he wanted consensus cabinet.
He begged that they should allow.
It is even because of that consensus candidate. He wanted a consensus option for APC. He didn't want them to go to election convention.
Yes.
He didn't want an election convention. So he was counting on, banking on using a consensus option. That is why even when the electoral act, after amendment, the electoral act only captured two methods of electing people into presidents or public offices. They used direct primaries and indirect primaries. He said you should include also consensus as a third option. Assuming a party does not want to go into direct primaries or indirect primaries using delegates or using direct party members, they can also choose and say, now we are appointing this man to take up this mantle, be our flag bearer, and contest this election for us without going through the rigors of election. So it was APC's presidential election he had in mind. When he turned that amended electoral act, he turned it down twice. He refused to sign.
Yes.
Until they inserted that consensus option. But what really happened later was, after that was included in the electoral act, he has made up his mind that it must be consensus. Bola Tinubu, being what he is, you give it to him. When you talk of this politics,
manipulation.
Yes, he's a master in this politics. What he did was, overnight he convened APC Governors Forum, moved fund in hard currency. Yes, and all of you even see some people like Erufai, who didn't support him this now started singing his praises because of the money that he moved in that meeting at Abuja. So after that, it was after that meeting at Abuja that they now brought pressure on the president. The APC governors now brought the pressure on the president. And at the end of the day, the president now succumbed to their demand and said, okay, go to election convention. That was how he marched. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been contesting this election today.
Okay, gentlemen, your contributions are well appreciated. I want your parting words, Mr. Mike.
Thank you very much for having me once again on this show. It is my pleasure talking to Nigerians, and I will always be glad to be here, to discuss these issues, because these are contemporary issues that we must discuss in order to set Nigeria on the right track. Thank you for having me.
Okay, what do you have to say?
Well, mine is a prayer. I believe in prayer. Prayer is the key. Nigeria needs prayer to get out from this political, mess we are in. We are really in a quagmire, politically and socio-economically. There's nobody in Nigeria who will tell you that it's all rosy for him or her. So we should be praying that 2023 election, that's my hope and expectation, that 2023 election will sanitize Nigerian political, space and give us a leverage and a leeway to live like every other, client, so that Nigeria will move. Currently, Nigeria is suffocating politically. Nigeria is suffocating economically. Nigeria is also suffocating developmentally. There's nothing going on. There's no commerce. There's no business. There's no governance everywhere. So it's a shame and it's a minus. So we all must pray that democracy will thrive. Come 2023, God willing.
Viewers, this is the much we can take from this program for now. Keep a date with us for another interesting edition. Mike, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for your contribution.
Always my pleasure.
Here we draw the curtain for the program, and please remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for being part of the program.